Okay, now the next thing we're looking at is what we call chord inversions. So I can have, like I did earlier on, I can have, let's go with C major chord. Okay, we'll just go to the next C, E, and G, like so. Okay, there's my C major chord. Now that C major chord can be written out in a variety of different ways. It can be written out like this, okay, with the C, the E, and the G put out like that, and that is what we call root position. Now, with this kind of chord, we can get two other versions of it. We can get one version where the lowest note, the note in what we call the bass, because the bass means the lowest, okay, the note in the bass could be an E, and the E in this case is our third. So if the third is in the bass, we call this first inversion. Okay, it's still all the same notes. That's still C, okay, and an E and a G. So it's still the same notes which make up my C chord, but they've just been put in a different order. The E note is on the bottom, then the G note, then the C. Okay, really, it doesn't matter which way around the next two notes go after the E. So long as the E is in the bottom, in the bass, okay, I could have E, and then C, and then G up here, okay? And it's still C, G, and E, or C, E, and G. It still denotes my C major chord, but because the E is in the bass, it's what we call first inversion, okay? So just to make things neater, I'm going to put it back the way it was. So it's going to go E, G, and C, but you could have E, C, and G. All that matters is that E is on the bass, okay? And you can probably guess then that there is another one, and how it goes. If I've got second inversion, okay, so if root position starts off with C, first inversion starts off with E, second inversion must start off with G. And so long as the G, our perfect fifth, is in the bass, again, it doesn't matter what order the next two notes come in, okay, whether it's C and then E, or whether it's E and then the C above that, way up here, it doesn't matter, so long as the G is in the bass. This gives me what I call, or what's called a second inversion. Okay, whenever you've got a chord with three notes, there are three different types it can be. It can either be in root position, first inversion, or second inversion. They're still the same chord, okay, but it's slightly different, as you can see. Okay, and it gives it a different sound depending on what note is in the bass. Root position sounds the most stable, okay? I haven't got a piano here unfortunately, but if you play it a chord in root position, it sounds stable, it sounds strong. If you play it in first inversion, it sounds a bit weak, okay? Because the root note is not in the bass. Because it's up high, and I've got our third in the bass, it sounds a bit weak. Second inversion sounds a bit stronger, okay? But not quite as strong as in root position. If you've got a piano or a keyboard or something you can play on, try playing these three different versions of the same chord and you'll hear how this sounds strongest, this sounds weakest, and this sounds somewhere in the middle. Okay, these are inversions, whether it's root position, first inversion, or second inversion, and it's the same with every chord. Okay, so if I now do another example of E major, okay, so in root position, you start off with E on the bottom. I've then got G sharp, and I've then got B. That's in root position because my root note of E is in the bass. First inversion, we'll have G sharp, we'll then have B, and we'll then have E. Because now the third of G sharp is in the bass, and second inversion will start on B, and we'll then have E, and then a G sharp up here. Okay, so these are chord inversions. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is to take the 5 chords I just asked you to work out, okay, which were F major, D major, G minor, it was A major, and it was B. Let's put number 5 there. It's easier, and it was B minor. Okay, I want you to write those out. You've already done it in root position, okay, but I want you to write them out now in first inversion form and second inversion form as well. Okay, so I know that, for example, F major, if you've done it properly, you will have done F, A, and C. Okay, this is root position. You should have already done this one as of the last video. You now need to do F major in first inversion and in second inversion. Okay, then you need to do D major, G minor, A major, and B minor. Okay, now pause this video and come back to it, press play again once you've done those 5 chords in first inversion and in second inversion. Okay, you should have done that task. Now the next task I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to draw out 5 chords which could either be in root position, in first inversion, or in second inversion, and all I want you to do is I want you to write out the chord like I'm doing, and I want you to write in if it is in root position, first inversion, or second inversion. So here is your first chord. Okay, you're going to have to work out the notes that are being used. Okay, so what are those 3 notes there? Starting off with the tricky one. Okay, work out what the 3 notes are, work out how they are related to each other. Okay, so which one is the root, which one is the third, which one is the fifth, and then see which of those 3 notes is in the bottom, and that will tell you whether it is in root, first inversion, or second inversion. Okay, let's do a second one. I'm going to draw a little bar line first, just to clear things up, make it easier. Okay, so that's a C, not a C sharp, because there's a bar line. I'm going to put a natural symbol, just so you know. Done another complicated one to start off with. Or as in our second one even. Okay, so again, work out what the 3 notes are. Work out how they're related to each other, which is the root, which is the third, which is the fifth. Okay, don't just assume that the bottom note is the root, you've got to work out how they're related to each other. Okay, once you know which of these 3 notes is the root, work out if it's in root position, first inversion, or second inversion. Let's do a third one. Let's start off there again. So again, copy these chords out, work out the notes, and work out what inversion it's in. Let's just do 2 more. Just going to put a natural symbol there just because I've got an F sharp earlier on. So that is an F natural. Okay, so I'm giving you that one. I'm going let's do one more. Let's do so you've got 5 chords. Work out what the notes are in each chord, work out how they're related to each other to C, which is the root to C, which is the third to C, which is the fifth, okay, and then tell me what inversion it's in. Is it in root position? Is it in first inversion? Is it in second inversion? If you can, also tell me what the chord is and whether it's major or minor. So if you think one of them is F major, you can write F major and then root position, first inversion or second inversion, and you're going to do that for each of the 5 chords. Pause this video to do that, come back once you've finished those 5. Okay, you should have done those 5 tasks. And now, we've been looking so far at root position, first inversion, and second inversion. And I said that there's only the 3. Okay, you can get third inversions. Okay, they do exist, but if I've only got 3 notes in my chord, like in this chord I've got E, G and B, I've got an E minor chord. If I've only got 3 notes, I can only have 3 possibilities depending on which of these notes is going to be in the bass position, which is going to be the lowest note. If I've got a 4th note in my chord, if I decide to add another note in, if I add that D into my E minor chord, I could have a third inversion. Okay, I could have it if I've got the D as the lowest note, so that's also D there, and I've got an E, a G, and a B, and I've got a chord with 4 notes that looks like that, of D, E, G, and B. That's in third inversion. Okay, because that note, the highest note in root position, is now in the bass. Okay, so we've talked about root position, first inversion, second inversion. Okay, that's if the third is in the bass, that's if the fifth is in the bass. This is if the 4th note in your chord is in the bass. Okay, and in the next video we're going to look a little bit about having chords with more than 3 notes in. Okay, so I'll see you in a sec with that one.